Lockhart Perspective. Hello and good afternoon to everyone. I want to welcome you to our show today. We're just taking a really quick look at a couple of things. You know, I named this the force-fed narrative specifically because I'm not sure if you feel like I do, but I honestly feel as if a lot of the things that we have here in this nation is forced on us. So, for example, today you have a holiday. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you believe in it or not, they've given you a holiday. So let's look into what they have done with this. Whenever I look at, and in a really critical thinking type of mindset about how we have these quote unquote heroes, I look at the Martin Luther Kings that they gave us. I look at the Rosa Parks that they gave us. I look at all of these people that they gave us. And then I look at what they do to who they gave us to subdue us. And let me explain this to you. Hello, Joy. I don't necessarily believe the hype. I don't. I don't subscribe to the theory of giving any human a day. I don't care who they are. But I really don't like it when they use people that look like me to attempt to subdue others, to force them into agreeing with things that to your core you may not agree with. Well, there's a lot of things that to my core that I don't agree with that they force feed us here. So as I look at it, I ask myself, we have a human celebration. You pushed it on me, but the thought processes of the individual that you force-fed me, I may not agree with. I don't really know where they came from. And really, you'd have to ask yourself, why do we get any heroes? Think about that. Why do you get any heroes? Well, one would have to say that in order for you to have a hero, good morning, Mark. Good morning, Sandy. Rage Against the Machine, good morning. You would have to ask yourself, in order for you to give me a hero and you love the spirit of control, then that means that you're going to attempt to control us with the hero you give us. For example, when I look at this, it makes me say, are you kidding me right now? Well, I mean, there are a lot of people who believe that this is actually a thing, when we all know that it really isn't. But if you that don't look like me say that that is not a thing, then you are now put in a category of a racist. You are now put in a category that you didn't even think twice about. You don't even have an issue. You're just saying, is this a real thing? And the answer is no, it isn't. So let's look at some of the points as to why they say this is a needful thing and why they would attempt to push this narrative on you right now today on the holiday they gave you. They gave you this holiday, force-fed it on you, whether or not you wanted it, whether or not you believed in it, whether or not you believe we needed one. They force-fed you this particular day, and you won't get any mail. Whether or not you agree with this cat or not, you're not getting one bit of mail. You're not going to be able to go to the bank. You're not going to be able to do a lot of things. Why? Because they force-fed this narrative on you. And again, if you don't agree with it, then they'll say that you are a racist individual, and it's not true. Am I racist? I don't agree with it. And what is racist anyway? When it's only one race. I've often said, we can't be racist, can we? I mean, think about it. There are ethnicities. There is ethnos. You can have some prejudices. Clearly you can. You're a human being, and you're allowed to have that. But if you don't agree with what they're pushing on you right now today, then some would tell you that that's exactly what you are, a racist. But if we look at the bullet points under the subheading of voting rights, what does that mean? What does that really mean? So let's go all the way back to when this gentleman, Mr. King, because that's his son right there in the center, to when his son was, when their dad was actually, quote unquote, fighting for these alleged rights. Well, it never came to fruition. It never came to fruition. Do you know why? Because the mere fact is that there has to be a seated president to sign the Voting Rights Act. Yeah, it renews itself constantly. So there, right there, is point number one. That if this was truly what you were attempting to do, then you would go back and you would ratify, correct. You would make everything the way that you think we believe that we're being hampered now. You would fix that, right? I mean, if that's really, really what you wanted everybody to believe, that you could not vote, that you're having this terrible, terrible time getting to the polls, this unbelievably unprecedented issue with getting identification. Sure, you would want everybody to believe that. So why wouldn't you fix it and make it a quote-unquote law? Why does a seated president have to continuously sign this act every time it's about to expire? Why? It's because it is a sham to push other laws, to push other mindsets, to push other thought processes, to push morally corrupt and morally bankrupt issues in your face, whether you like it or not. And you better not say anything, because if you white and you say it, you racist. And if you black and you say it, you are Uncle Tom. So they got you. Either way you go, you are damned if you do and damned if you don't. And it doesn't matter what shade of skin color. Doesn't matter, because they've got something for everybody. So this is King's son, Martin Luther King III, and his wife, Andrea Waters King, and their teenage daughters, Yolanda Renee, joined several hundred other activists and residents in a frigid walk across the Frederick Douglass Memorial Bridge. Another person that they gave us to worship. The bridge, they said, symbolizes Congress's support of the recently approved bankrupt bill, of the recently approved $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill. Quote, "You delivered for bridges," march organizers said on their website. "Now deliver for voting rights." The group planned to join several annual Martin Luther King Jr. Peace Walk on its 2-mile route along the Martin Luther King Southeast. Listen, don't give me this Martin Luther King Southeast Avenue stuff. Every town you go in, if they really cared, every town you go into, let me tell y'all something. If you want to know a road to a neighborhood to avoid, if you see the word Martin Luther King, avoid that road with all due diligence. Because you're going to find some of everything that you could think of that you don't want nothing to do with on Martin Luther King. Conversely, we know that if we see MLK in any community, no matter if we're there on business and need to go get ourselves a new piece of wiglet or a pair of eyelashes or a pair of earrings really quickly, we know we can go to MLK. I know somebody going to be mad at me, but you're going to be all right. I know somebody going to be mad saying, well, she talking about black folks and we black and she shouldn't be talking. But I'm telling y'all the truth, that if you buy into this narrative that they are force feeding you, you are part and parcel the problem. You are the problem. They're force feeding you a narrative. You got a day off today. Some folk can't even afford to be off today. It don't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. They would give you a human being to worship. But it's the human being they chose. Somebody don't like this. It's okay. You're going to be all right. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to say it. They go on to say that it's on its 2-mile route along Martin Luther King Avenue Southeast. Then they were scheduled to attend a news conference at the Union Station with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, corruption, Democrat of California, and other House members to call on the Senate to avoid a filibuster and pass the Voting Rights Act bill. Really? The Voting Rights Bill. Really? Quote, "From the Civil War to the Jim Crow era, the filibuster has blocked popular bills to stop lynching." Do you see the trigger words they use? To stop lynching, end poll taxes, Fight workplace discrimination. Ain't nobody stupid enough to stop you from going to vote. I worked in human resources for the past 30 years? And when I left the field, I was a director of human resources. I know every single law that there is. Do you honestly think that any company worth their salt is going to prevent somebody from going to vote when we know the law? Do you see these trigger words? Stop lynching. End poll taxes and fight workplace discrimination. This is a bunch of crap. This is a bunch of crap. And it's a bunch of crap that they're going to use to fill up this thing with a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with black folk, that has nothing to do with white folk, that have nothing to do with Native American folk, that have nothing to do with people who are from this land. Whether you white, whether you black, whether you whatever you are, this is your land. This is your home. But they push us to focus on this. They give us the narrative. Meanwhile, every border is wide open. Meanwhile, every job you thought you had is now in danger. Why? Because two cats gonna do your gig. Two cats. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So when we look at this, we have to understand something. That we have people that are coming across our borders and we have nothing to do with it. We can't stop it if we tried. And meanwhile, they're constantly pushing this on us. They actually knew that today was going to be a day that they were going to be able to force feed all of their garbage on us. Nobody cares to hear any of this stuff. We want to know what you're doing with all of the money that you've already taken. You got $1.2 trillion wrapped up into this. Where is it going? This is a commentary today. This is a commentary today. So what are you doing with the money? Where's all the money going? What are you really doing? This is a sham. They give us Rosa Parks. They give the nice little lady a stamp. My question has always been, we see several pictures of Miss Parks sitting on that bus. How? Did the bus driver that was driving that day when she refused to get up, did he pull over and use a cell phone and call the police and tell them, hey, you may want to bring somebody with you with a camera? Or did he have to get off and find a beat cop that was walking down the road and say, hey, would you come and get this lady off the bus? And by the way, do you have the phone number so that we can reach out to the local newspaper? Or did he get off and walk over to a phone booth and say, hey, police, come get this lady off the bus? By the way, can you make sure that you bring somebody that has a camera from the news outlet? And I'm going to make sure that she sits stoically in this one particular position until you guys get here. So you can take as many shots as you want. You can take a right angle. You can take... Has anybody ever asked these questions? They give you your heroes, your sheroes, and then they force feed their narrative down your throat. Have you ever asked? Did you think it and you was too ashamed or afraid to say it? How did they get the camera on the bus back then without use of cell phones? Or would it be more believable to think that if, because it was not legal for her to sit there, that they would have taken her off the bus and just arrested her? No, somebody allowed her to be a hero. The same thing with Michael King. Michael King's father, Martin Luther King, well, his name was Michael first. Did you know that? Did you know that? His name was Michael. And after he had his son, and his son was of age, they changed their name to Michael, from Michael to Martin. Did you know that? Did anybody know that? Why? His father was a civil rights activist as well. Why did he change his name? Does anybody ever ask that question? What prompted that? Luther, Martin Luther. Who was Martin Luther? Was he a slave? Was he an abolitionist for slaves? Who was Martin Luther? So change your name from Michael Add the Martin. Change your name from Michael, add the Martin, slip in the Luther. Now we got us a homemade, homegrown hero. And watch what we do with it. But see, I get in trouble if I ask these questions. But I'm asking. Why did his daddy change their name? Why would an adult man change his name? For the purpose to subdue. Why did they have a camera available for her to sit there on many different levels and sit there? Why? How were they able to do that? How were they able to do that? Why are there people that said that they knew where the bullets was coming from the day that this man was shot? Why? Nobody asked these questions? Don't nobody ask these questions. I'm wrong for asking, right? Oh, is it too soon? Maybe I shouldn't be asking. I shouldn't talk about this. I should be a part of the problem, right? I should just shuffle on down there and let them push over on everybody, whatever they want to do, right? I should be a part of this. Nah, I ain't, player, 'cause I can see you. My favorite phrase, I see you behind that tree with them big old bozo shoes sticking out. I see you. Yeah, I see you. I see you. So, we ask no questions, and yet we are divided. We are divided. You won't sit next to me because you think I'm like them, and I look at you and I won't sit next to you because I think you like them. No, that's BS. I call BS on that one. It's to make you feel guilty if you don't agree with it, and thereby you won't show up to speak up or against something because you feel like if you do, they have told you that you are wrong. So you don't do anything, so you feel guilty. It's to make us walk in dissension with each other. It's to prevent us from having like minds. It's to prevent us from understanding that no matter what we look like, we can agree on what is right and what is morally wrong. No matter what we look like, that is what makes us have something in common. I believe that our Father in heaven has a great sense of humor, and I also believe that he loves different shades, obviously, because your shade may not be my shade. I believe that he loves his creation, no matter what color they are. He loves them. But I believe that if you're going to give me a day to celebrate, get out my way and let me celebrate my way. Get out my way. Don't give me this cat. Don't give me no cats, because ain't none of these people died for me. None of their blood was shed for me on Golgotha's mountain, at Calvary, or no place else. I choose the Father. That's my hero. That's the narrative I choose, but even you dabble in that. Why? Because you got to be knower of all. You got to do everything. You got to be involved in all decisions. You don't just move out the way. Case in point, look at where we are today. Where are we today? Where are we today? What are we doing today? Y'all don't get mad. Get right. Whoever get mad at me, God bless you, baby, but this is the truth. They gave you a hero and made you take a day off. And for those of you who don't make 40 hours a week already, or who ain't already vested in your job or vetted in your job, you are not going to be able to make up this day. Even if they give you a little bit of money, you still got your other 2 off days this week. You still got your other 2 off days this week. Yeah, this is all contrived to make you push this narrative of doing whatever it is that they want. And funny thing is, mark your sister's words here, I give it 20 years. This whole March thing ain't going to be about nobody who look like me, unless, of course, they are reversed. Okay? They are reversed. They are reversed. It will not be about my grandmama and them, who did suffer. They did suffer. Sure they did. I know they suffered. Y'all know they suffered. We all know they suffered. They did. Okay? But they were also a very resilient people. They were a very resilient people. You see, believing the hype and the lies that they give us prevent us from knowing the truth about our previous history here in this land, in this nation. It does. It does. But you know what I love? I love Southern folk. Don't matter what color you are. Southern folk know I'm not lying. Because Southern folk know that they could go out and barter and take some eggs down the street to Mr. Willie and get some onions from his crop. Mr. Willie was a black man. They could barter. They all knew each other. We all know each other. We know good people who look like us, and we know bad people who look like us on both sides. And we know who we not going to deal with. We can tell when somebody is a plumb fool, and we let that plumb fool go on about their business. But the true people who are the fabric of this country, we've learned to work with one another. We have learned to love one another with our differences. We have learned to appreciate each other. Unless you're a plumb fool. Now that's a totally different category, totally different conversation for a totally different day. But for today, we're talking about those who are in their right mind, who know how to treat people, and who just love regular folk. Just love regular folk. You know, you can drive down certain neighborhoods in closed areas like in Alabama, and your car's coming and somebody may be in their front yard, and what do? Put up their hand and wave. That's a high neighbor sign. We have no real issue except for the issue that has been created for us. We have no real problems except for those that have been created for us. Again, we have to remember that there are cuckoo people on every side, on every spectrum. But we're dealing specifically with this, that we don't have ID. I got ID. Matter of fact, as soon as my kids become a certain age, I make sure that they have ID. Why? Because in our community, the one thing that we were taught was make sure you got ID and make sure you got a little bit of money on you. So that way you don't get caught for vagrancy. That's what we used to be. That's how we were taught. That's how we were taught. We got to remember that when you start hearing about this civil rights stuff, my one point I just made, that in 20 years, it's going to be more about a rainbow than it ever was about black. Let that sit there for a second. And you're going to catch what I meant. You're going to get it. In about 20 years, that whole entire time frame of the 60s, of the 50s, and even beyond that, is not going to be about black. It'll be about a rainbow. They're going to make that argument about a rainbow. Sure. Every single one of our embassies, with the exception of a few around this world, have that flag outside of it. Yep. It does. A couple of countries in Africa said, no way, Jose. You get away from us with that. We don't want that because that's not what we believe in. So you can't bring that westernized stuff over here. Some countries in Africa have stated. So they can't raise that flag over there. That's right. So I'm going to go ahead and get off. I'm going to pray that the station here remains. That's what I got to. But I cannot sit back and not say anything. Come on now. Wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me. Wouldn't be me. Would not be me. But they are definitely going to remove us out of the complete scenario, and it will not be about black, but it will be about a rainbow. Think about that. Anytime somebody comes into a country and they take over that country, the first thing that they do, whenever there's been any battles, any major wars, from any country, any time in history, the one thing that they do is they go in and they remove all of the statues of the previous king or the previous, pharaoh or the previous whatever. They go in and they take all the statues down of anybody that ruled, whether he was a terrible ruler, whether he was a great ruler. The people who just took over that land have taken all the statues down of the previous ruler. They've taken all of the monarch's items that they had down. They've ravished it. They've gone through and they've taken everything out. Think about what I'm saying. Removed it all. And then they began to put up what they believe in. Do you see the correlation? Do you understand we've been taken over? Are you following me? Do you feel me? I hope so. I hope so. Now, let's get on to a major distraction before I close here. Major issue. Major issue. Mr. Bona. There you go. History starts at the Roman Empire. Till now, pre-Roman Empire, we hear little. It's all Roman propaganda. Rome never fell. It just reconstructed. Fell, just reconstructed corporation. Thank you, my brother from another mother, who's saying exactly what I'm saying right now today. Please read that's on the screen and understand that's what's real. That is what's real. And if you take what he's saying, even the belief system you now hold is steeped in Rome. Aha! Break it down. Break it on down. Even the belief system that you now hold, and I do mean that one, that belief system, is steeped in that empire. Why? Because do you honestly think that they would allow you to really serve the one and only true God? Do you really think so? You don't think they painted themselves in it just a smidge? You think they had a little regard for other people and said, no, we would never ever do that. Forget it. We don't want to take any names of the year as a month for us and pay homage to ourselves, Julius, July. No, we would never ever think about paying any homage to ourselves, August, Augustus. So do you really truly think that they allowed you to believe in 100% totality, the true and living God? Have you checked it out yet? Have you studied to show yourself approved? Because barring anything that I have said today, that, my brothers and sisters, is the true and honest question. Do you know what you believe and why? Have you studied to show yourself approved? Does Rome have anything to do with your thought process? Are you holding on to Rome in any way? Are you truly ready to come out of her? What does come out of her mean? What are you supposed to let go of? What are you supposed to hold on to? These are questions for the ages, but yet I ask them. Because if you don't understand what I just asked, your time is now. The time is now to answer those questions. Because as you can see, we really don't have a lot of time. That's one commodity that we don't have. Time. Time to get it right. Time to get it together. Time to find out what he really said and what he didn't say. Time to understand who he really is and who he really isn't. Time to understand that when he said back then to keep his statutes and his commandments, he said that. Read it all through Daniel. Read it all through Ecclesiastes. Read it all through Ezekiel. How can he was just adamant about how he wanted you to love him, about how he wanted you to serve him. And then all of a sudden he just dropped his rocks and gave up and said, okay, do it this way. Are you kidding me? The great I am that I am? He said that? He just dropped his rocks one day. Because that's what this really is. They keep you distracted long enough to prevent you from looking and seeking out the truth. And if you don't know the truth, then they got you either way it go, no matter what side of that coin you get down with. They got you. All right. Well, I'm going to let y'all go. But this is a kingdom. This is a kingdom. And you need to be aligned with the kingdom. All throughout the scriptures, you see where Israel was begging for a king. And what did the Father keep telling them? I'm sufficient. I am your king. I'm the one that just got through taking you out with my own hand out of captivity. Don't you remember the frogs, the locusts? Don't you remember everything? Don't you remember crossing over that Red Sea that was parted supernaturally? I am that I am. I am your king. I'm it. No, we got to have a human. Think about that. That's the kingdom right there. Attach yourself to his kingdom, period. Find out what his kingdom is, because his kingdom ain't got nothing to do with what's going on down here right now. So if you're trying to come out of Babylon, baby, you can't do it and still be attached to this kingdom. You can't do it. This is what I'm called to teach. This is what I'm called to preach. And this is what I am called to share. This is what I do. And I'm telling you that if you are attached to anything here that you can't let go of, knowing that you say, well, I'm a this or I'm a that. I'm a Presbyterian, or, I'm a Christian, or I'm this or that. Okay, fine. But is it attached to Rome in any way? Because if it's attached to Rome, I submit you ain't attached to him, because you know what? He says, I'm a jealous God, and I will not share the spotlight with nobody. So either you're going to be attached to Rome and take Babylon 110%, or you're going to come over here, let that go, and serve me and watch me bless you. Yeah. You're going to come over here and you're going to keep my statutes, my commandments. You're going to do what I say and watch me love you and watch me bless you and watch me make sure that you do not suffer lack and watch me help you in all your ways. You got addiction? Come on over here. Let me take that from you. That's what he wants to do. He don't want to keep you in addiction by giving you every form of pharmakia. Every form. He don't want to do that to you. He said, leave that alone. Come over here and serve me soberly. Let me show you something. He wants to teach you the right way. So if you still attached to Rome in any capacity, well, no, this is mine. I like this guy. I like that guy. And he's sitting over there in the cut like, okay. I guess the next catastrophe it's going to take for them to come over here and realize that I am. But eventually, you won't have that opportunity because today is the day to do it his way. He said that by doing it his way, you'll literally be saved from a lot of stuff, from all the maladies and everything that's wrong. He said you do it his way, he gonna save you. But see, we walk around with this fake Roman, just what Bonner said. We walk around with this fake Roman mindset, piety of mind, thinking that we've arriven, thinking that we have arrived. We take that mindset and we'll go slide straight into a compartment of Sheol. You'll be in Sheol, Tartarus. You'll be in one of them. Yeah, you will. Why? Because that's what's prepared for those that serve Babylon. You see how that works? There are principles that are in place that no matter who works them, no matter how nice you think you are, you're going to have a place to kick it. So what I submit today is that this is the day that you got off today. Today you got off. Today is the day off. Today is your day off from work, right? All right. So I'm putting something on your mind early enough and I'm challenging you to prove me wrong and go dig in the word. Do not bring me any Roman word. Do yourself a favor and go dust off that Old Testament that they call Old Testament. Go dust that off. Go over there and kick it right now in Ezekiel 5. Go over there and look in Ezekiel 9. Go look in Exodus 9. Oh, I can't do that. That's the Old Testament. We're not under that anymore. I guarantee you get over there and start looking. You're going to find some nuggets that's going to save your life. Because today is the true day of salvation. He's asking you to truly and honestly serve him. So for whoever this is for, I'm speaking directly to you. Because somebody cannot fathom why I'm over here on this side teaching what I teach on the other side. Well, that's because you only kick it over here. You don't ever come over to the Lockhart Perspective. And he sent me over here today to tell you that today is the day of salvation. That today is the day for you to get it right with him. I don't really mind. I'll take the hits. I'll take somebody throwing apples. I'll take the tomatoes. I don't care. I'm giving you truth right now. Whoever you are, today is the day of salvation. Stop playing. Because tomorrow may not come. What you doing? Why you over here? Why you hurting yourself? Why are you hurting yourself? Get it together. Do it his way. All you have to do is keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, and you tripping. Easy stuff. Easy peasy for you. It's easy for you. You have overcome a whole bunch of other stuff here in this natural world. That to just keep his laws, statutes, and commandments and love him the way he asks you to, you could do that. But nobody told you it was that simple. So you've been trying to scrape and put it together on your own, thinking you got it, but you don't. Yeah, I see some people clicking off, but you're going to be all right because this might not be for you. But the person that it is for, I'm sharing with you. All you need to do is go back to your first love, baby. Go back to your first love. He is there for you. He's there for you. He is there for you. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here as my big brother. Hey, Ronnie. each and every one of you guys for being here. But I cannot not tell you the truth. I cannot not tell you the truth. You know what? If I did not tell you the truth and I had the platform to tell you the truth, that your blood would be required at my hand. Are you feeling me? Your blood would be required at my hand if I had the opportunity to give you truth. To give you the truth. You see? You understand? He would look at me and say, how dare you, Felicia? How dare you not tell the truth and not tell these people that I love them and that all they had to do was to serve me and worship me and I would protect them in them last days. How dare you worry about what other people was going to say? Really? Seriously? You're really worried? Now you got all this on your hands. I fear him too much to lie to you. I fear him too much to be concerned about anybody's algo. I fear him. So therefore I must cry out and spare not and tell you that your salvation is in his commandments. Please doubt me and go look it up for yourself. Please. I need you to see it for yourself. Right now, I beseech you to go and look it up for yourself. We are in these days for a reason. You were left here and allowed to live to see this day, to get it right. Don't worry about what Mama and them did, because Mama and them only had a certain amount of information. And if Mama was living the way she was supposed to be living and was never given the opportunity to hear that it is in his commandments, then Mama, he got Mama. Mama gone, but he got her. I'm talking to you who's here today that's hearing this word right now. All throughout his word, he tells you to keep it, to keep his commandments, keep my laws, keep my statute. But yet we're hearing that the law has been done away with. Really? And the lawless one is the one who gets dropped off into that lake. You know it and I know it. We've read Revelation backwards and forwards. You're hanging out with the lawless one if you don't have the law. All of us mourned when they removed the 10 Commandments out of the very same courthouses that they used the premise of. They took it out. The premise of the commandments, the 10 Commandments, they removed all of the symbols out of our courthouses, out of our schools, and we shrieked, we shrilled, we mourned, and yet we don't understand that they were showing us something, that they were removing the law. They were removing the law so that they could subdue the masses. They removed the law. Oh, whoa. You cannot do this without his laws, statutes, and commandments. You hear him tell you throughout his word. The only place they put earrings on it and a flower pot hat is in the New Testament commentary. That's others' commentary on everything that was. My brother brought that up the other day. He said, that's the commentary. The New Testament is the commentary on the Old Testament. Because if you want to hear the hard-hitting truth, then you read those little numbers that's on the side in the New Testament. Read those little numbers. The little number that'll take you back to an Old Testament scripture. Like where they talk about the new covenant. That's Jeremiah 31 all day long. Jeremiah 31:31 all day long. Oh, here's the new covenant as it's written. And then what do? They take you right back to Jeremiah. Right back to Jeremiah 31:31, where he giving you the true breakdown of that new covenant. And he say, you know what, this here new covenant that I'm talking about, now it's going to be written in your hearts. Now it's going to be written in your mind. That's the new covenant. That's where it is written. Why? Because now I know who you are. You know who I am. This is the new covenant because they did break the last one. They broke the last covenant. And because they broke the last covenant, this is going to be the new covenant. I'm going to write it in your heart. So you need to understand something. You need to understand something. That when they took that away from you and then said the law was done away with, hey, they have signed you up to agree with everything Rome says. That's exactly what they're doing. When they tell you the law was done away with, with frilly little bitty baubles and all that other stuff, that's because they got you. They got you. If you believe it, they got you. If you believe the law was done away with, they got you. Because the law wasn't done away with. Why? Because he said he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. Forevermore. Yesterday, today, and forevermore. That means forever. Forever, forever, ever, forever, ever, forever, forever. He don't change. He's not schizophrenic. He's not easily swayed. You see, you or I, yeah, we could possibly be swayed if we get the right salesperson to tell us that we really do need that Maserati. 2-seater, and you got 4 kids. Yeah, we might be able to get somebody, but he ain't swayed. He is not going to bow to us because we want to live in sin. He would never do that. He ain't bowing to us because we want to live in sin. Are you serious? So because to live by his statutes, laws, and commandments, we say is hard, even though he went in and freed Israel, took them out of bondage with his own hand, and saw how corrupt and how mean they were and how hard-headed they were. Even though he saw all that, so now he's going to just say, well, let me just give up. Let me just stop. Let me just give up. They don't have to do what I say. They don't have to do what I say. They can do whatever they want. Okay, you guys, and I'm going to come back for you. Nah, he ain't. They removed the law. They replaced them with their heroes. They gave you a forced narrative, a force-fed narrative, to believe what they wanted you to believe, to distract you from the truth. Don't believe the hype. This is the force-fed narrative. You were born in it. You didn't know it. You were born in it. You didn't know it. But you can't say that after today. I've done my portion. Get it together. Get it together. I want to thank each and every one of you for being with me today. And I want you to remember what we always say on any Lockhart group publishing of any way, whether it's print, whether it's on radio, whether it's here, whether it's wherever, that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the Most High, the true and living, the one and only, as you say, God. Please take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And hopefully we'll see each other again on this here channel. I don't know. Please continue to be blessed. To receive instant notification each time I upload, please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification.